Hi, welcome to Coastal Business Channel. This is Laura. Today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of starting a business. So I have jumped in there and produced a lot of videos on business ideas and how to start a business and what you need to know and hey, how do you write a business plan? But maybe you're on the fence. Maybe you don't know. Do I want to start a business? Do I not want to start a business? So let's go through and talk about the pros and cons of starting a business. So we're going to start with the pros. And the first one is you are the captain of your own destiny. So that's right. No one is just going to give you a paycheck each week, regardless of how hard you work, regardless of how many sales you bring in. It is up to you. You are in charge of your destiny. How big is this company going to grow? What's in my way? Is it my kids that are distracting me? Am I letting them distract me? Or am I going to focus on building my business? So you are in charge. Part of being in charge is you're making your own choices. You have the freedom. Do I want to take a day off to go skiing or go to the beach? Or am I going to focus there and work on my business? I don't really get sick days. Nobody's paying me for my sick days. Nobody's paying me for vacation. So do I take vacation? Do I take sick days? I don't know. I tend to work every day, but not all the time every day. I had a massive headache earlier this morning. I did do necessary work and then I took a break, took some medicine, got some fluids in me, and then I kind of was able to resume my work again. What does that say? I have maximum flexibility. So I have the flexibility to do that, right? I also am able to build my own wealth. So, I do have to pay taxes. I am an entrepreneur, so I can actually write off things as well that are allowed by the IRS that I wasn't able to do when I worked for Morgan Stanley. So really what it is I get to keep so much more of my take-home pay, I get to keep so much more of the revenues that I bring in. I'm able to build more wealth. And not only that, it's so much more fun to bring on a client, because before I bring on a client, I'm like, oh, it might make $100 difference to my paycheck. But now it's making multiples of that, multiples of that. So it's a lot more fun to get a client because you're like, yeah, this is really making a difference to my paycheck. This is really making a difference to what I'm able to save. So that's going to happen for you when you are the solo entrepreneur. I don't have a whole administrative body of people at Morgan Stanley that supports me. It's me. I do have to pay for my compliance and all of that, but it's not to the same level that I had to give up pay at Morgan Stanley. This next reason is actually the pro, and it's why I went off on my own, and it is to leave a family legacy. So if I am going to be building this company and I am going to be putting all this hard work in, if I stayed at Morgan Stanley, if I retired, yes, they could pay me out for 5 years on the businesses I had, but then after that 5 years, there's nothing. There's nothing to show for all my years of hard work. And that's what I'm most excited about. I am most excited about building something that I can pass on to my kids. I chose not to have my advisory business have my specific name. It's not, the Laura Casey financial advisory business. You might want to have your name. Obviously, we can see if you go out in the world, there's a lot of people, their businesses have their names. I chose not to do that, but I am building it for a legacy for my kids. And I'm excited to see when they graduate college, who would want to work for me. Now, I'm hoping they go have their own lives for a little bit, but I would like them to work with me, maybe by the time they're 30, that they can come join me. So that's something that's very important to me. And it's also, finding your personal fulfillment. And so to me, the pro of finding your personal fulfillment actually is the fact that I can leave a legacy. It's, part of it is what I work, I'm getting to keep more of, but it really is leaving a family legacy. So, and the last one is have some fun. I'm not bound strictly by what Morgan Stanley says I can and cannot say, or I can and cannot do. I wouldn't be able to have a YouTube channel. I don't know for a fact. I don't believe I would if I was at Morgan Stanley. This I'm able to do because I'm at a smaller shop and I'm an affiliate and I'm an independent affiliate versus an employee. So that's kind of fun too. So I'm able to have more fun in my job because I went out and became an entrepreneur. The cons of starting a business, the first one is really, to me, it's a little bit in your control. So it's work long hours, or you're working longer hours. I don't necessarily know. I am working more hours and I'm working longer hours than I did when I was at Morgan Stanley. And part of it is that I'm more excited. I'm more excited to bring on clients. I'm more excited to build this, to leave a legacy. At Morgan Stanley, I just was trying to meet sales goals, which I easily met. and then I would kind of I would stop selling for the rest of the year because I didn't need to. I got my bonus, I made their goals, they're happy, it's fine. But now it's like, okay, I've literally 10x my goals. I brought in more in November, December than I did for an entire year at Morgan Stanley. And it's because I'm much more excited. I am working longer hours. I'm not working crazy hours. So if you want to work crazy hours, I would probably build my business a lot faster than I am. I first and foremost view myself as a mother, and my first priority is to my kids. So, and they've been sick. I just have one with COVID now. I had 2 or 3 really sick in September. 2 of my sons missed 15 days of school, like in the first 5 weeks. It was crazy. So that is my first priority, and I need to balance that with bringing on clients, with managing the clients that I have. So working long hours, it's, give and take. Another con is missing the guidance of an expert. I personally am not seeing that, but I think there are enough people out in the world that you can talk to and you can get that. But yeah, sometimes I feel like for some people it might be a little bit scary not having that boss or not having that level of administrative help to kind of guide you along the way. I will say YouTube is an amazing source. Pretty much any business you're thinking about going into, you can find a video on YouTube to kind of give you guidance. Leave comments to people. If there's someone you find super helpful, leave some comments. See if you can start a dialogue. I actually left a review on a book, and the author got in touch with me. Like, how amazing was that? So it was really kind of neat. So you really don't know who's going to be able to help you out down the road. So yes, you're losing that formal guidance, but you can find it elsewhere. Another big drawback is the loss of steady paychecks. My business is different. I brought over my clients, so right away I had paychecks coming in, not to the level that they were because it took a while to bring some clients over. But you might find that, and that's kind of scary. I think that's kind of the safety of remaining an employee. You're always going to have health insurance. You're going to be able to have steady paychecks. But if you believe in yourself and you really believe in your idea, if I'm not going to bet on myself, who am I betting on? So bet on yourself, believe in yourself, and get yourself out there. Sometimes I think what happens with entrepreneurs is that they're starting before they have enough business experience. So maybe you have enough experience in the product you're selling or the service you're selling, but you don't have experience, and maybe you don't know that you don't have enough experience in setting up a business properly. Do I have an LLC? Do I want to trademark my name? Do I have the tax ID? Am I filing my taxes properly? Do I have to pay self-employment taxes? Like, maybe I don't know about that. And maybe all of that stuff kind of gets you like a little bit overwhelmed. So if you don't have the business experience, seek it out. Seek it out in a mentor. Maybe if you have a friend that started a business, doesn't have to be the exact same line of business that you're in. Or maybe you have an aunt and uncle, a father, a mother, somebody. It doesn't have to be the same type of business you're in. But okay, I want to start a business. What do I need to know? Okay, well, you're going to need to, get your business registered. You're going to need to get a tax ID. You're going to need to have some type of accounting software. You're going to have to file taxes. You're going to have to put money aside for taxes. There's someone that's can help you all with that business aspect that really has nothing to do with the product or service you're selling. So you can get that information elsewhere, but that is a negative if you're not used to it. If you really I just want to sell my product, I just want to sell my service. Well, no, you do have this whole other administrative aspect that you need to be in charge of. Some businesses struggle financially. Some people either A, don't manage money very well, and B, didn't realize how capital intensive, monetarily intensive that their business was. If you're doing a woodworking business, not only do you have to buy wood, but you have to buy all the tools that come along with it, and maybe all the stains and all that kind of stuff. And it takes time to make those products. So you're like, okay, well, to sell this cabinet that I made, I need to be competitive with this other person. So I thought I was going to be able to sell it for $1,200, but I can only sell it for $600. Now the second project comes along, and you only have $600 in revenues, and you got to go buy the supplies, and now you're running into problem because you also wanted to eat dinner every day or lunch and whatever, all your meals every day, right? So now you're running into problems because you weren't able to sell the first product. So financing is a big reason why people fail, and most of the time I will tell you it's mismanagement of money and not keeping track of what you actually have to sell products for to make money, and you don't know all that information in advance. So please do your homework in advance. I did have a video with the Etsy shop because Etsy's the margins. When I had my Etsy shop, there were very few sellers. There were no third-party manufacturing being done in East Asia or Pacific Islands or what have you. And now all of a sudden it became much more competitive, and it became harder to sell these products at the right margin. So I advise people in the Etsy video, do your homework in advance. What product or service are you going to be selling? At what price do you need to sell it to be able to make money? And you have to think about, maybe it's health insurance for your family, maybe it's just health insurance for you, maybe it's a car or a truck or supplies that you need to replenish each time you get a new client. And you need to know all of that stuff in advance, because financing is a huge struggle for businesses. Let's just be honest here. Your business is struggling financially. What is that doing to your personal relationships? Personal relationships take a big toll when someone starts a new business, an entrepreneur. It's stressful. It's stressful for the person starting the business. But you have to realize it's stressful for the person you're living with. If I'm short-tempered because I'm stressed out about all the things I need to do, and I'm so busy, and I got to keep my clients happy because I just moved them over, but I still have all this web design stuff and everything else I need to do, it's going to play a role into my relationship with the people in my house, husband and kids. What happens if now it's also struggling? I mean, thankfully I was not in that position, but if you have a business that's also struggling financially, so you're struggling financially and you're overwhelmed, it's going to play into your relationships. Hopefully, all of this was discussed before you started your business, maybe not with your kids, but with your spouse or your partner. And, they're just super supportive. And if you have someone who is super supportive and willing to help you out, that's going to make things a lot easier for you. And again, when you're starting out, what's going to happen? What are you doing? Voices in the head. What are you doing, Laura? You were fine at Morgan Stanley. Your clients were fine at Morgan Stanley. This is crazy. You're never going to be able to build a business the way you want to. This whole legacy planning you have these grand dreams, and it's just not going to happen. And guess what? I told my head to shut up, and I just put my head down and work. And I achieved more than I thought I could in November and December. And it was amazing, and it made me feel good. And even though I've struggled the first 2 weeks of January, I think it's Christmas, my birthday, every year I get older. I'm sorry, you probably do too. I've had headaches, the son has COVID, and I've kind of had a hard time kind of get rolling in the beginning of January. But I know if I put my head down and work, I can be successful, and I have been successful. So those insecurities, those self-doubts when you start out, it's going to happen. I think I'm a super optimistic person, and I really believe in myself, and I know I work harder than the average person when it comes to getting sales and bringing clients on. I know I can do it. I still have doubts. Everybody does. Just the other night, it was just like, I just was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm supposed to have a meeting tomorrow. Guy's not answering. I'm calling to confirm he's not answering the phone call. So I'm guessing I'm not having a meeting tomorrow. I could sit there and be like, wow, that really sucks. I can't believe that. No, it happens. People do it. People get excited when they talk to you, and then I'm not looking at it. I'm not taking it personally, and I'm not going to have it squash my dreams of my business. It's one client, it's one meeting, or one prospect, one meeting. I'm just going to put my head down and keep making phone calls, and I'm going to get a meeting, and I'm going to get another client. And I do know that happens when I work hard. It will happen for you too, but you can't do the minimum, and you can't do what you did when you were at, Morgan Stanley or wherever you were. You need to do what it is to get a new business person, and you got to prove yourself, and you got to get the numbers out. And you're not only proving yourself to prospects and clients, you're proving yourself to yourself. And once you prove to yourself that you can do it, everything just becomes a lot easier. One of the cons is losing money sucks, right? Losing money sucks. Failing sucks. It all sucks. Guess what? Don't fail. If you are keeping track of your business and you see what's happening on month 1 and month 2 and month 3, this is what they say about YouTube channels. When you start a YouTube channel, after 20 videos, reevaluate. After the next 20 videos, reevaluate. Do your thumbnails need to be better? Do the titles of your videos need to be better? Do you need to have a better backdrop? Maybe a better looking spokesperson. Sorry. But it is reevaluate, and that's what you need to do in your business. If you're starting a business and you don't want to fail, and you start out and you realize that the economics of the business that you're running or your client acquisition is too hard, change it, pivot. Nobody says that just because you started doing this that you have to continue doing this. Maybe you need to do this or this. Or maybe you got to flop it all the way upside down and start over again. A little bit hard in the financial advisory business, but I started doing it. And it's actually very common for a financial advisor that was at a big firm to leave and go on its own. So it's not like I'm doing anything like extraordinary or unique or what have you. But maybe you are. And it is okay to reevaluate. I really believe that you need to go in there and say, I'm not going to fail. Okay, so my business idea of doing woodworking and specialty cabinets isn't necessarily working. I'm going to create a YouTube channel. And I'm going to create a YouTube channel and I'm going to teach people how to make cabinets. And so someone who's retired and they want to make themselves a cabinet, they can watch my videos and they can make a woodworking cabinet. So yeah, I'm still making my woodworking cabinets that I do want to sell. One, I'm advertising my abilities on YouTube. So, hey, maybe you'll watch my video and you'll see this beautiful cabinet I made and you want to buy it. But maybe I get actually monetized on YouTube and I can actually make money making these videos and I can still do my woodworking business. So there are ways that you can continue doing what you're doing and just say, okay, I need to pivot a little bit because the way I thought this was going to work out and the way I was going to be successful wasn't going to work. I don't accept failure very easily. I accept failure as in the people that I thought I was going to meet tomorrow aren't answering my call, so clearly I'm not having a meeting. I failed, right? Somehow along the way, I failed to make this gentleman truly believe that I would be helpful and having a meeting with me would be good. So I failed delivering that message to him somewhere along the line, right? He easy to say yes, get me off the phone, and then he thought about it over the course of the week and decided no. So I failed at that. But in my grand scheme of building my business, I'm not a failure, and I know I'm not. And I won't accept failing. So I'll easily accept small fails. People hang up on me. I actually had someone today that I called, said he wasn't interested at all. And we had a really, really nice conversation. And then he goes, hey, well, wait, my son's 30. He needs a financial advisor. I keep telling him he needs one. He's going to be here in March. You need to meet him. I want you to meet him. And I was like, okay, well, that was kind of a nice win. The phone call started off as a no, and it turned into like a maybe. And I'll tell you, I don't really believe this son's going to want to meet with me, but I'll call him back in March and I'll follow up and we'll see what happens. So there are times in your business you're going to fail. There are times you're going to need to look at what you're doing and shift. But I really think if you're going to go out and be an entrepreneur, first and foremost, you have to believe in yourself and you have to believe you're not going to fail. And as long as you do that, I think things will work out pretty well for you. Thank you so much for watching.